Well, hello everybody. We're back. This is the Mickey's Earbuds. I'm here with
Justin?
and I'm David, and it's good that we can reconvene and talk to you a little bit. Today we're going to be talking about festivals at Disney. They have several that you can go to. There's the Food and Wine, the Art Festival. Am I missing some, Justin?
Flower and Garden.
And the Holiday Festival.
Yes.
Those are just at Epcot. I know that they do other events over in Disneyland, but Justin and I, our wheelhouse is definitely the Disney World Resort.
Yeah, they
So
do similar events over at Disneyland. I know they definitely have their own food and wine out there on the West Coast. Food and wine is going to happen at Epcot early this year, as early as when the Disney theme parks are slated to reopen in mid-July. So we wanted to kind of showcase that and give you guys a little bit of a rundown based on what has been available in the past and our personal experience.
yeah, just to date this a little bit, we are recording this pre the reopening after the COVID-19 shutdown. So that's why we're going to look at the little bit of the news. We try to stay away from that, Justin, but today I think it's okay because it's pertinent to our topic. I don't think we're not going to give our opinions. I don't think there's really an opinion on it. We just are going to talk about the
We
the
might give
festival.
our opinion on some of the food that we were able to enjoy at the past Epcot Food and Wine festivals.
Oh well, yes, you always get food opinions here. We reserve no, if you don't like our food opinions, well, just wait till the next time we talk about food again, and then maybe you'll agree with that one.
By the
But I
way,
have
Dave, I have to ask before we get started here. I have to ask: did you have something to eat before this recording?
Yes, I did eat for once before this recording.
Good job, because that could have made this a whole lot more adventurous in a bad way if you had not done that.
It just makes it a lot more interactive on my part when I'm hungry and end up talking about food inevitably, like we do in every single one of these. So the we're going to start with one of our regular segments. This one's going to be a little clipped because we want to really get into this one, but we're going to do festivals this or that. So Justin, would you rather enjoy the Germany Pavilion at the Food and Wine Festival or in the Holiday Christmas Festival?
Germany's a wonderful pavilion to visit at any time of the year, and I'm gonna go with the food and wine season as much as I do enjoy Christmas. I'm gonna go with food and wine season.
So let's take that this or that to the next one. Would you rather go to the Christmas Festival or the Food and Wine Festival?
Oh, food and wine festival.
Any reason in particular?
Well, I've been to both actually, so I've had experience there, and I enjoy what they do with food and wine a little bit more than what they do with Christmas. That said, I really did enjoy my trip for the Christmas festival and the holidays around the world that they do there. Absolutely fantastic. Definitely a must do. The candlelight processional is amazing and amazingly done. But I'm going to stick with the Food and Wine Festival because there's just so much to see, and they have things from other countries other than the staple 11 countries that are traditionally around the World Showcase Lagoon.
Okay. So would you rather have the vegan samplings at India or the vegan samplings at Scotland?
I trust my vegan samplings more from India than from Scotland, personally. That's just kind of my go-to there, and I've tasted them, and I just trust them more.
You don't want to eat the vegan haggis?
That doesn't sound like something that you should do vegan. It sounds like if you're going to go haggis, you need to go for the real deal.
If somehow they can make that flavor vegan, it's both. Science has gone too far. That's just where that's gone.
It's like,
We've gone too.
would you eat vegan bacon? No, you wouldn't, because, well, maybe some of you would, but I wouldn't, just because it wouldn't taste like the real thing. But I'm also not a vegan, so.
Science has just gone too far on vegan bacon and on vegan haggis. We need to put that genie back in the bottle. All right, so you'd rather eat the vegan offerings from India than from Scotland. As somebody who's of Scottish heritage, I think they should also do it the correct way. So, would you rather go to the Canadian Pavilion, or let's start left versus right, or the Mexican Pavilion and any of the festivals? Which one would you rather go to? And if you want to play the game where you're like, well, in this festival I go this way, in this festival I go that way, we'll allow it.
I think either way, I'm going to start at good old Mexico Pavilion. That's just kind of my go-to no matter what time of year it is. I always seem to be drawn in that direction when I approach the World Showcase, no
To the
matter what
left.
time of year it is. Yes, I get drawn to the left every time when I'm there. I don't know why it is what it is, but there's just something about the Mexico Pavilion that I really enjoy.
Even the food, you'd rather go that way because you can at the Food and Wine Festival. They usually do the beer cheese soup at the Canada Pavilion.
Yes, I have had this beer cheese soup, but I've actually had it at Le Cellier Steakhouse, not in the festival context. But and it's a fantastic soup, it really is. But I don't know why. I'm for the offerings. I'm more the diverse offerings. I'm drawn to the Mexico Pavilion.
So here's the $1 million question, and we have to mark more time for this question later. Would you rather eat one food from every single festival pavilion, or drink one beverage from every single festival pavilion?
I think it would be more manageable for me to eat one food than to drink one beverage because some of those beverages are alcoholic. I mean, it is called food and wine for crying out loud. With the number of pavilions they have out there for food and wine, I don't think I would make it even a third of the way around the World Showcase if I had a beverage from every pavilion.
Are we talking getting your stomach pumped, or are we talking like singing, football fight songs?
Probably singing football fight songs.
Forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air.
Yes, that. Yes.
Maybe if you drank the whole thing, because there is, just for those people who are listening in, I'm sure some of you have heard the drinking around the world, where you get a drink from every single pavilion.
Now that can be done, just not at Food and Wine Festival.
Yeah, well, it goes from the world, just the pavilions, to the kiosks that are all of them, and not all of them are countries. You have like the flame one, for instance, that's all about
Yeah.
barbecue, and then you have like the ones inspired by the Chew or whatever the TV show series is. So you have like 3 or 4 booths that are not at all nations, but you have to drink at those, and then all the rest.
Yep.
I think you'll be tasting the rainbow and seeing sound at that point. Ugh.
It's kind
Yeah.
of like one of those things where my wife tells me that when you have a plate of sit down to a plate of food at dinner, you're supposed to eat the rainbow. So like the foods on your plate are supposed to be different colors. You got your orange carrots, your green vegetable, whatever the color your meat is, usually red, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, but honey, I taste the rainbow every day. I just open up a bag of Skittles and I'm good, you know?
You know what color doesn't get eaten enough, or enough notoriety anymore these days?
What's that?
Beige.
Good old beige. Beige does not get eaten very
You know,
frequently.
they
Well,
used
I
to
mean,
make it.
chicken's kind of beige when it's cooked, though.
Chicken is kind of beige. Once upon a time, every computer came in beige. Those were the good old days, the beige days. Oh yes, exciting color of beige. I don't know who made that decision. Um, I'd like to meet him though, and shake his hand. Comes in any color so long as it's beige. Uh, so let's see. All right, so you'd rather eat around the world than drink around the world. What is your missed offering? If you could think of it at the top of your head, what's the one offering that you missed from any of the festivals? You're like, that one sticks in my brain. They don't do it anymore, and I don't know why. And I miss it.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, that's kind of a tough one
I know mine.
because I can't really think of anything, honestly. I'm actually far enough removed from these festivals that I can't think of a missed opportunity at these festivals. I've been to the Festival of the Arts, I've been to the Flower and Garden, I've been to the Food and Wine, I've been to the Christmas Time, I've been to all 4 of them. You know, now you mention it, I think if there's one thing that I really missed out on, and they still do it, I'm pretty sure, but I missed out on it just because I haven't been back around Christmas since 2013 was they do the holidays around the world and they do that in such a way where usually there's a storyteller at every pavilion telling that nation's Christmas related story.
Yeah.
And I didn't see, I think I saw one of them. Maybe it was in Italy, but I didn't see them anywhere else. And I actually heard that the one in China is quite a story to be told. But yeah, we missed out on that one when we were there. We saw the candlelight processional and all the decorations and such, but I don't think we actually made an effort to hear the Christmas stories from the different countries.
Oh, that's fair enough. For me, I'm thinking on the food side. At the Food and Wine Festival, they used to have scallops, cheese, and bacon at the Scotland Pavilion.
Oh, yes.
And they haven't done that in some years now. And that was like the best because they'd caramelized the scallops with the bacon and the smoked cheese. It just was out of this world. Thinking about you were talking about at the holiday, the seasonal festival. I've seen the Italian one where they have like this lady with a broom talk about Christmas in Italy, traditional Italian understanding. I've seen the lady who talks about Kwanzaa,
Uh-huh.
and I've seen Father Christmas, or what's his name for in French. I've seen him, Père Noël,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've seen him as well. But those are the only ones I've ever caught. But I don't know if they don't do them anymore, or if they're only like at very like with other face characters, like only at very specific times.
Yeah.
Those I know what you're talking about. Well, I think that's all we got from now. Let's really get into the festivals, and we're gonna focus on, I guess, the Food and Wine Festival mostly this time.
Well, yeah, it's in all seriousness, it really is probably the most popular festival that they do at Epcot.
Yeah, the other ones are pretty solid too. They have being local, I can go to the events more spread out over the period of the months that they run them. And I'll say that the Festival of the Arts has gotten better every time I've gone.
I can believe that.
There's more things to do. They have different kind of art styles,
Yeah.
and it's getting better. As far as the Garden Festival, let me just be honest. All of them have gotten better as I've been here.
Well, I think the one for the Festival of the Arts, I think that one's the most recent one that they started doing.
You mean the most recent edition?
Yeah, the most recent addition to the Epcot lineup of festivals, I think, was the Festival of the Arts.
Yeah, and what's happened actually as a result with other theme parks in the area have kind of taken these up themselves as well. So you'll see at Busch Gardens they do a food and wine festival now, and they'll also do a seasons or Christmas festival. I think Universal does something of the sort, but I know like Busch Gardens does, and if they do, I'd imagine SeaWorld does too. I just know because I have tickets for the Busch Gardens one for this year.
Yeah. Well, you got to keep up with the competition, so.
Yeah, which only helps the consumer supposedly.
Yeah.
But they just from my perspective, like one thing I would say about the festivals, never go within the first 2 weeks.
Ooh. Yeah,
You
it'd
know,
be rough.
no, you know what I mean, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. A
The
lot of people.
first weekend is the biggest. It's the rookie move, you know. Oh,
Yeah.
it's day one. Don't do that. You know, wait for like the first week definitely to blow over, maybe
Yeah.
even the second week, and then go and enjoy. Why? The crowds will be lower. Two, the kinks will be all worked out because restarting a new festival, even if they just did a festival 2 months before, if they're doing like the food and wine version, there's still gonna be kinks. Cast members
Yeah.
still gotta adjust. And I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. I don't know. Have you ever run into that like that? Have you ever made the trip on the week 1 or week 2 of any festival?
No, I have never done that.
Yeah, it's just like how waiting a little bit is probably the best move because the first week of food and wine, it's like shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty bad when you and I were there on a Saturday in October.
Yeah, and that's not even at the beginning. That's because food and wine traditionally, now 2020 is a little different because of the shutdown. They're starting Food and Wine Festival and they're combining it with a garden festival on July the 15th. Traditionally, the Food and Wine Festival starts the end of August
And it runs pretty much into what, mid-November?
and it runs until about November. I'm not sure if it runs up to Thanksgiving or if it runs to mid-November, and then they switch for the Festival of the Holidays, which goes all of December, I think the first week of January.
Here it is. Well, last year it ran up until right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and then I think they take a couple weeks to set up for the holiday festival, or they take that week to set up for the holiday festival.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was always suggest never to go the first week. And yeah, you and I went in October. What I think we ran into then, when you and I went together, and this is the weekend that after I turned 30, Justin and I had a trip over to Disney. On the weekends, like well into the festival, it's a lot of locals. A lot of Floridians will come on in, and they'll partake in the festival.
There's a lot of bachelor and bachelorette parties walking around too.
Yes. You want to talk about drinking around the world? You'll see that happening with that. I've seen more bachelorette parties at Epcot than I've seen bachelor parties, though I have seen some bachelor parties at Epcot.
Well, truth be told, the bachelorette parties are generally easier to spot because they wear matching shirts, and the guys don't usually do that.
Justin, did we make a mistake by not wearing matching shirts at your bachelor party and at mine? I've gotten made.
No, I don't think we made a mistake there at all. I mean, yeah, given everything we did that particular day / weekend, yeah, I don't think we missed out on that.
We could have been like at yours. You could have been those guys all at the baseball game wearing the same shirts.
Could have been, and I'm pretty sure I was at least wearing an Orioles cap because, spoiler alert, it was an Orioles baseball game that I went to. I live in Maryland, so yeah. I mean, I was wearing my Orioles colors. I'm pretty sure one of my friends was wearing his Orioles colors, and the other one, he's not an Orioles fan. Not really sure what fan he is. I think up his way, most of them are Yankees fans. I know you don't bring Yankees fans to a Baltimore game. But anyway, I digress.
I don't think you bring Yankees fans to any game other than a Yankees game. I say that as a New Yorker.
Yeah.
I know how we're received. But you're right, though. I can see it in my head. They're all wearing like matching shirts and like a sashes sometimes. And also in my head, they have throwaway wine flutes or champagne flutes.
Yes, they do. Yep.
Oh, another tip or trick for everybody. You can bring your own silverware now.
Oh.
That's something to consider.
Yeah, it is.
And you can buy their trays, so you don't have to sit on you don't have to like try to hold all the food at one time. But I heard another good trick is you can go online, buy like a cafeteria tray for nothing, and just bring it in, and they'll let you do it now.
Yeah, that would be a good way to go.
All right, Justin, what's the untold secret of the Food and Wine Festival? The thing that everyone does, but it's never like really talked about. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No,
the
I
number
don't know.
one eating location at every festival.
Is it Germany?
It's using the trash can as your table.
Ah, okay. I was way off on your thinking there. Yeah, that's one of those things that I do without even realizing that I do it.
That is, now for some reason, I see people do it all the time, but every time I need a place just to put down my food, there's always a trash can available for you to eat at. You can never find like a table. Never. That's the first thing taken up. I can't tell you how many times I've just gone over to the trash can, plopped our meal down, and we just ate.
And the best part is when you're done, there's a trash can. You don't have to go anywhere. It's right there.
You saved
a step. Yeah.
Just like one of those things, you just observe people at Disney. I don't know. Does Disney know that people are doing it? Do they care?
Probably yes and no.
Like, well, it saves us picking up their stuff off the ground. Sure. Keeps it clean. I wonder if there's more trash cans put in at festival time. To me, that makes sense, but I know Disney has a very intentional plan on how they do trash receptacles throughout their parks.
Yeah, I don't think that they place any extras, except for maybe around the additional booths. There might be additional trash cans next to the additional booths or pavilions that they set up for the festivals. Other than that, I think that's it. I don't think you're going to find random trash can over by the American Adventure Pavilion that wasn't there before. I think it's going to be next to a booth that's explicitly set up for the purpose of that festival.
Now, what are a couple tips that you have for the festivals?
Well, for me, it's you got to get one of their passports because at the Food and Wine Festival in particular, they usually have a passport. And if you have that passport, you can basically just look down the list and you can see all of the stations that they have around the entire park and pick out those things that look the best to you. Because let's face it, you're probably not going to be able to try or afford to be able to try every single thing that they offer there, especially if you're only there just like that day or even part of that week or something, and then you're going home to someplace out of state. So pick up that passport, scroll through it, and see if there's anything in there that particularly strikes your fancy that you're like, oh, I know I want to try. And then kind of strategically make your way around the park and try those particular highlights. I'd say like pick 5 of your favorite foods from what seems to be on that list.
Now this is actually, you have a good point on that one. The passports are also, if you didn't do your homework online, you'll learn about the vegan haggis at Scotland and be like, oh, I really like that. Or, I'll skip that this time. um, but one of the things Elena and I did, Elena's my wife, we, I don't know if I told you this, Justin. In 2018, we were at Disney at Christmas time, and they did a cookie passport for the Christmas season.
Ooh.
And you go around and you get the cookies at various different pavilions. We had to get all of them. And of course, because there was the two of us eating cookies, my wife just threw up her arms and was like, oh, well, we got every single cookie. And at the end, you get the cookie, and just like the passport Justin's talking about, they stamp it.
Yep.
And then you present the passport to the last station and allows you to buy the special completed cookie of the whole day. And so we did that. It was actually a lot of fun. And that's one of the things. What's really neat about that is if you have kids, that's something the kids, because Epcot sometimes doesn't feel like it's a super kid friendly park.
Yeah.
That's something kids will just literally and figuratively eat up.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you can also do during Food and Wine Festival, they have the passport you can buy, and you get all the stickers. And after you finish it, you win like a glass, or you get a glass. So you pay like $25 for the passport, and you end up getting a glass. That year Food and Wine Festival. At least they were doing that the last couple of years. I don't know if they're doing it this year.
Yeah.
And some people will do that. But yeah, I think the only people who actually finish the passports, except for Elaine and I, who are fixated on eating every cookie, are probably just locals, Yeah. You're going like once a week, every week until the thing's over from, August until November. I think you could do that.
Yep.
But I have, other than the cookie one for Christmas, we've never done that. What's another tip that you'd have? Since I offered the bring your own tray, use the trash can, and you can bring in your own utensils. Oh, and by the way, utensils also include metal straws, which I'd recommend.
Yeah, especially at this point.
Because they switched to all paper straws now.
Yeah. Now, me personally, I will say I don't really have a problem with a paper straw. I generally drink my beverage fast enough that the paper straw doesn't disintegrate in my cup. But for some people who's going to sip on it throughout the day, yeah, that metal straw is going to come in handy.
Yeah, my wife is one of those who will take her time and enjoy the beverage as opposed to me that'll inhale it. So she'll be like, the straw will be melting at that point because of the liquid.
Yeah.
Mine will be like, I can't even, all the ice are gone because I ate them. So yeah, it depends on you. You're right.
Yep. Now, I don't know that I particularly have any other tips other than to say that oddly enough, because usually I say oddly because usually under normal circumstances at Disney World, the price you pay for a particular food item is going to determine its portion size. That's not as much the case at the Food and Wine Festival. There are some things that you can buy there where your dollar you're gonna feel that like your dollar carried a whole lot further with a sampling at one pavilion as opposed to another pavilion. So there are certain things, especially if you're walking up there and you're wondering, is it really worth it to buy that particular food item that I'm eyeing up? Well, just stand there and watch. You'll see people walking away with
That's
that
right.
food item, and you can determine for yourself right then and there, is it worth spending the money on that?
That's right. That's for example, and not to be negative, but to tell you something, my warning. The cheese soup at Le Cellier, they sell it at the Canada Pavilion. It's really good, but it's like $6 and you get maybe 3 ounces.
Yeah, you don't get very much of it.
Yeah. Well, like a shot glass worth amount of cheese soup for that much money isn't worth it. But then you go, for instance, at the America Pavilion in the Christmas season, you can get like a stuffed pork chop with stuffing for the same money, and you're left feeling like I don't think I can eat anymore the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And there is several booths like that where a couple years back when Jess and I were together, we were talking about this earlier. We went to one of the cheese pavilion at the time,
Yeah, we got the cheese
and
and onion tart, didn't we?
that thing was pretty sizable, and I'm pretty sure that was less than $7.
It was $4 as I recall at that
Yeah,
time.
and it was a. My wife is whispering it's $4.99, and that was the three of us ate on that thing, and we were pretty impressed with how much was in it, and it was actually really good.
Yeah.
Of course, in my opinion, the best food you can get for the dollar at Epcot is the giant pretzel at Germany,
And that's available year round,
and that's
folks.
available year round. Though another good thing they have there is the noodle gratin, which I think is also kind of available all year round.
I believe it is.
That's also really a good bang for your buck.
Yeah. But the other tip I've also heard, I have not put this into practice myself, but it sounds like it's a really good idea. If you're a person you're definitely going to want to limit yourself to a budget and say, I'm going to go into Food and Wine Festival and I only want to spend this much. Then what you do is you buy a Disney gift card and you put the whatever
That's a
amount of
great
money
idea.
you want on the Disney gift card. So when the Disney gift card is out, you're done sampling. Simple as that.
That's a great idea. And also, kind of to spike Justin's setup here, if you are going to eat at the Food and Wine Festival, you could get breakfast. You don't need to do lunch and dinner, and you can literally just have appetizers around the world, and you can
Yeah.
forego most of your meals that day.
Yep.
If you just plan ahead, and I think that's the one thing you and I keep coming back to is we always got to plan ahead.
Yeah.
I
Fortunately, with the Food and Wine Festival, it doesn't take, if, for instance, all you're doing is you're going to Epcot for the specific purpose of enjoying the Food and Wine Festival, or really any festival, all things considered, other than maybe buying that Disney gift card, you don't need to do a ton of ahead planning there. You can pretty much kind of play that by ear. And when you get into the park, get that passport, look it over and say, oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. And then go around and hit your favorite spots. You don't really have to it's not like going to, say, Magic Kingdom, where you want to hit those particular attractions and you're trying to book your fast passes a month or 2 months out, depending on whether or not you're staying on property. So,
Yeah, that's one thing that I should be sensitive to. Some people vacation, the last thing they want to do is plan.
yeah.
In that case, yes, grab that passport and do some reading as you're walking. Believe me, the walking, you'll burn off the calories you're eating.
Yeah. I mean, that was the thing that I enjoyed about our trip to the Food and Wine Festival that year was you guys pretty much picked me up at the airport and we went straight to the Food and Wine Festival, and I didn't even know that was coming, and we had a blast just walking around Food and Wine Festival and sampling different things together, and that was pretty much zero planning other than you guys planning ahead and saying, hey, so this is what we're doing.
Yeah, that's I think that's the biggest Not the most obvious secret, you know?
Yeah.
Go with somebody.
Yeah, good point.
Maybe you are Mr. or Mrs. or Ms. I can do this myself. And I get that. I respect that. But it is, you cannot number how many times better it is to go with your friend or your spouse or a family member. You can't put a number on how
Yeah.
many times better that is.
Yeah, and not just for the memories you're making together, but also I would say take somebody that you're willing to split an appetizer with.
Yeah.
So that way you actually in effect you double your ability to get appetizers, and you can get twice as many appetizers as say a couple or a pair or whatever, rather than just by yourself getting things. Because if you're just by yourself, you might get like five things and you're full. But if you're going with someone else that you're splitting these appetizers with, well, then the two of you can probably try 10 different things before you get full.
Yeah. And this phrase being, this is a phrase that I've shared with Justin several times. It's like our germs are related anyway. And, which is more funny given the COVID-19 going on right now.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like, maybe that's not the best advice you should be giving at this time and plague, you know?
Justin and I live together, so in my thought process, all our germs are very distantly related. And we see each other enough that they get reacquainted every now and all the time. So,
That and we're pretty sure that we are distantly actually related.
oh, that's a given. But yeah, it is true. You go with friends if you're willing to be, if you're a person who's not afraid of splitting food, definitely do it. That's and you know, as to steal a line from a cartoon that was watched by too many adult men, friendship is magic. And it's My Little Pony. For the record, I never watched it, both original and the recent. But I know from the internet memes that friendship is magic. You know, I guess that's true because there's something so good about good company with good food. That's biblical, by the way.
Yeah.
But
Well, you would know.
I would know. But yes, definitely take a friend. I had been when you're a little bummed, it just changes your spirits. And good food. There's a quote from Frasier, a TV show my wife and I really enjoy. They said the only thing better than a perfect evening is a perfect evening with one flaw, because then you could talk about it the whole time. And when we go out to eat, say Justin likes something a lot, and I'm like, that was okay. We can go back and forth as to why he thought it was good and why I thought it was okay. And maybe I don't think you can change people's opinion on how food is to one or another, but it's just interesting to get their perspective. And that's, you know, that's how friendships are built, you know?
Yep.
And food is just something. I don't think they can ruin food yet. Have they tried to ruin food yet? I know they're trying to ruin all like everything else, but food seems to be one of those things that notoriously everyone can get along and talk about, no problem.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, obviously you're going to have different, what's the word I'm looking for? Points of view, I
Sure.
guess, if you're talking like person who will eat anything versus a person who is a vegetarian, or a person who is a vegan, or a person who can't have something because they're diabetic, or, you know,
Yep.
different things like that. You're going to run into probably differences of opinion there, but or you know, with less common ground, I guess you could say. But otherwise, yeah, I think people connect very well over food, and I think that's pretty much one of those things that's timeless.
Yeah, and actually, one of the things that might surprise some people who know me, I've actually enjoyed a couple of good vegan dishes, and that getting along with different people, you can really learn to enjoy different types of cuisine. And
Yeah.
that's what's really good about the festivals is it's a nice way where maybe if you're a little bit picky, it's a safe way of trying different food. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it kind of is, because you're only getting a small portion. So even if it is something that you find out, you know, I didn't really like that and I thought I was going to, you know, it'll work. Plus, I would also say, generally speaking, there's always exceptions, but generally speaking, I'm not a super picky food person, but I do have some things that I don't like. But if I
Yeah.
see it as an accompaniment to something that I'm having at Disney World, I trust Disney so much that if I like one of the things, but I'm not real too keen on the other thing, I'll still order it anyway because I trust Disney that much. Like for me, like for instance, asparagus. I'm not a fan of asparagus, but if the dish I'm ordering is say like a filet mignon, for instance, and it happens to come with asparagus, I'm going to get that filet mignon and I'm going to eat that asparagus because I trust Disney with my asparagus.
Yeah, I'm actually the same way. I used to despise asparagus. Actually, I've recently come around on that one. But the thing for me is, I don't hate mushrooms. I just don't go out of my way.
Yeah.
But if it's in a Disney dish, it's a safe way for me to eat a mushroom. You know,
Yep.
and I feel comfortable. Now that some people are just not people like, don't think like you and I. I know that talked to a lot of people. Some people are like, oh, it even has the smell of it, I won't touch it. I get that. Everyone has got their own thing. But yeah, that's it is a safe way to try new food. That's a really good point. And with Disney also because they're aiming at a Western palate,
Yeah.
it's gonna be food that even if it is a little weird to you, it's still safe. You
Yep.
know?
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things that now this was on a Disney cruise, not at Disney World, but the point is still the same. I never in my life figured I would ever eat escargot. I tried it on a Disney cruise. I was like, okay, well, if anybody's going to do it right, it's going to be Disney, you know. And so I tried that escargot and I loved it. I was like, can you send us another one? You know, it was actually really good
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Escargot is nothing more than a conveyance of butter and garlic.
with snails.
With yeah, it's just a snail that transports butter and garlic into your body.
Pretty much, actually, from the consistency standpoint, and please keep in mind, living in Maryland, I'm big into my seafood, especially my shellfish. It was kind of like eating a mussel, you know.
Okay.
So it was something like that, where basically the mussel itself doesn't really have as much of the flavor as what it's actually been, I guess, marinated in, or the juice or the sauce or the broth that it's sitting in. So it's kind of like that.
Ooh. You see, Father's Day was just recently, and my wife and I did not go out for Father's Day, and
Oh
I've been
yeah.
hankering some seafood. You've only made that
I,
worse now.
I won't tell you what I had for Father's Day.
You should tell me after we're done. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
Yeah. Ooh. Now we're talking about the festivals. I think if I had to choose between them, I think I definitely like the Christmas one more because of the decorations. I think that the food and wine is probably the least decorated, though still well decorated. The the garden one is excellently done, and I'm always impressed on it because
Oh, the topiaries are amazing.
like when you've done this, I've not done this. When you go into the background stuff and you actually see how they do the gardening and how they set up for all that, and you go
Yeah.
into the backlot areas and you see their infrastructure on how they grow plants and get plants ready for various different events throughout the Disney World calendar. Like when you get a glimpse of it at the festival, it's actually really cool.
Yeah.
I think this would be fair for me to say, Justin. You and I we love Disney World, but we're also really fascinated on how they get the A to Z done in the background.
Yeah, it's pretty stunning. I can't tell you how many Disney documentaries I've watched. I'm just fascinated by what they do and how they do it.
And with the Garden Festival, it's to me it feels like they pull back the curtain a little bit, and you can see how they put like the topiaries together. I know, for instance, that for the Christmas stuff, they start working on the Christmas stuff the end of June.
I
You
believe
know,
it.
and which yeah, think about it. How many millions of people are there just in December?
Yeah, yeah. Well, they have to get it ready because, say, for instance, in the Magic Kingdom in particular, well, and also at the resorts too, when because they have their fall decorations up through October 31st, through Halloween, then people I know who have been there and they wake up, they go to bed they went to bed on October 31st and it was Halloween. They woke up on November 1st and it was Christmas. They did it that fast. So they
There,
had
that's
like
just
a small army of cast members switching out everything all over the place. And yeah, there were a few things that weren't in place quite yet on November 1st, but most of it was there.
and it'll all be done by that following weekend.
Yeah.
But not to belabor that, that's a whole topic we should we've been talking about doing the holidays forever. We definitely need to commit to doing that episode. But that's why I like the garden episode because the garden festival, because you get to see just a little bit of that. I know that what is it for poinsettias or poinsettias, depending on where you're from. Disney's one of the largest growers of poinsettias in the state of Florida.
Gosh, they're everywhere. Just at the
And
like just look at basically when you walk up to Magic Kingdom at the train station. There's tons of them.
And I know Florida, and I know that Disney is one of the largest buyers of agricultural, like for tourism, not for farming,
Yeah.
for that kind of flowery work out of like everybody. I mean, this is the company that resods the grass almost every night,
Mm.
and so when they do the garden festival, it's really cool. That and also, I like to see my wife's reaction when we go to the butterfly area. And now that I have a child, I can't wait to see my child's reaction when we go to the butterfly area.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Oh, it just I can't wait.
Yep.
But that's why I kind of like that festival. And they do such an excellent job. You cannot you can't beat it.
Yep.
Now, I would like to go to other things. Have you been to a food and wine festival anywhere else besides Disney?
No.
Yeah, I'll have to go to the one at Busch Gardens that's coming up here in the next few months. And then maybe we can report back on this and that. But I know it's so popular that even the resorts are starting to get in on it a little bit, where the Swan and Dolphin now are doing their own food and wine festival.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it's extended to the rest of the other big resorts, but I can't imagine that's far off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's where, the secret to dining at Disney is the best foods at the resorts.
Yeah, that is true. With a few exceptions, but yeah, generally true.
Yeah. No, no, I'd love to hear your exceptions, but that's a different episode.
Yes, it is.
I'm trying to think of
All right.
any other things we could say about the festival.
Well,
Go for it.
no, I was just gonna say I can't personally think of anything, but we are kind of running a little late on our time.
All right. Well, my final piece of advice for the festival is go to the right. Start at Canada.
Wow. No, you want to go to the left. Start at Mexico.
Here's the thing. How many people know the Mexican national anthem?
Okay, well that's kind of
Everyone
rude.
from Mexico, obviously.
Yeah.
How many people know the Canadian national anthem?
Probably everybody.
From Canada.
Well, yeah.
Then the next question is, what are there more of, Canadians or Mexicans? Mexicans. So there you go. If any of those things factor into your decision making, there you go. The one advantage that Justin has about going left towards Mexico is you get to Italy a little faster.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
That's true.
Germany. And Germany.
But the truth is, you get to America at the same time.
Smooth. Smooth. Yeah.
But but you do get to Japan a little quicker on the other side.
Those wasabi dumplings. They were something
Yeah.
else.
Or the bean curd desserts and the mochi.
Yeah. But those wasabi dumplings, I have not had as good a wasabi dumpling before or since.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Well,
all
as my
right.
mouth is
Wrap it
starting
up.
to water.
Justin's favorite food is he and I have had this discussion. His favorite cuisine, I think outside of American, is Japanese and then Italian.
Yeah, I think that's pretty safe. Yep. Well,
And
no,
then,
actually, I would say Japanese, then German, then Italian.
okay, wow. German's a dark horse right there.
Yeah, well, yeah, I love my Wiener Schnitzel and Nudelgratin and bratwurst sausages. It's just amazing.
Well, other than honorable, honorary first always because I live and breathe and exist in this culture, which is American, then it would probably be Italian, Japanese, and then German for me, actually, too. So, all right. Well, anyway, we should wrap this up. You want to close
All
this
right.
out?
Sure. Well, thank you all for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully
Share.
and share. By all means, share. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you again next week. All right. Well, see you real soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.